Hey guys, I thought I would make a quick video and show you a little bit in Fantasy Grounds about how that Entangle spell that we tried to use last week should have worked. So right now you're looking at the GM view in Fantasy Grounds. Let's say we're having a combat here. San is walking through the jungle by herself and she comes upon three goblins. We can have some fun with surprise rounds sometime later, but for now, um, let's just say everybody shows up here at the same time. So I'm going to roll initiative for everybody. And you see that on my screen it's rolled initiative here. San ended up last. It also randomly rolled hit points for these goblins when I put them in here because that's the way I do things. So let's say that my goblins all talk amongst themselves and it gets to San's turn. Okay, I'm going to pull over the player view and let you see what you would see as a player. So you see I am logged in as San here. This is what John would be seeing on his screen. He doesn't have anything going on here. Somehow he has closed all his windows, can't figure out what's going on. Here's the way you fix that. Up in the top right hand corner, I'm going to open up the combat tracker, and then I can double click on my picture up here in the top left and it will open up my character sheet. And then if you double click on your token on the character sheet, it will open up any map that you're on. So you don't need me to push the map back out to you. All you've got to do is double click your token and it'll show you the map. Okay, and then you can still use all your map controls here to zoom in and out and whatever it is you want to do. All right, so San announces that she is going to cast Entangle, and you see that I've loaded Entangle on her Actions tab. First thing we can do is take a look at the spell by clicking the little information button, and we'll see that it has a 40-foot radius spread. All right, so let's start with that little bit of information. I say, John, show me where San's spell is going to show up. What he does is right-clicks on the map, selects pointers, and this is a 40-foot area. So I'm clicking and dragging out a 40-foot circle. Then I grab the center and I say, Mike, I'm going to drop it right here. Okay, right at my toes. And you'll notice that the border on this is black, which matches the dice that I'm using logged in as San. If your dice were pink, then the circle would be pink. That's pretty self-explanatory, I think. So now you'll notice that next to the spell, there's all these cool little icons that go along with Entangle. One is the one that forces a save, and you'll see that San's reflex DC is a 14. That is 10 plus 3 for her wisdom and 1 for the level of the spell. It is possible to do damage with an Entangle, it turns out. If they happen to be thorns, then you can do a damage of 1 while you're trying to get yourself loose. This sets the duration of the spell on San. So when San's turn passes and passes, it'll count down that duration, just like it used to do for us in Roll20. Just a little easier to set up here. And the other adds the Entangle effect to anyone who failed the save. Lastly, we've got a button for removing Entangled if we happen to put it somewhere we didn't mean to, or if somebody gets out of it. But more than likely, I'll handle that as the GM. I don't need the player handling that. But the player does have the ability to, if that's the case. So what does John do next as the player? He says, okay, I've laid down my area here. Now I'm going to show Mike exactly who's in it. So holding down Control, I'm going to target. Why is that not working? Control. Oh, I see, it is working, duh. All right, so it's lining up the targets here. Goblin 2, Goblin 6, Goblin 8 are now your targets. And you can see the distance there if I highlight the token. That's what was confusing me, is you have to highlight your token to see the ranges there. So all three of these guys are in the spell effect. I'm going to cast it by clicking this save. And you'll see it's all grayed out. You're not actually seeing what was rolled, but you kind of do here, see the results. We've got every single one of them failing in this case. The first one rolled a 3 plus 2 and got a 5. The next one rolled a 7 plus 2 and got a 9. The last one rolled a 3 plus 2 and got a 5. So they all failed. If one had succeeded, that would have been a little bit cooler for what I'm showing you here, but you'll just have to trust me. Now that I've cast the spell, I'm going to set this entangle duration on myself, and you see that Son now it's going to keep up with the duration of 10 rounds that entangle is there. If it's not removed by some other means, it'll disappear in 10 rounds. And then lastly, I'm going to push this button, and what it does is it applies the entangled condition to anybody that failed. If one of these goblins had saved, it would not have put entangled on them. And you look up here in your combat tracker and you see under effects that this these characters have the entangled condition. Now they may have other conditions that only the GM can see. So for instance, if they all had cast protection from energy on themselves, so they were protected from fire or something like that, you wouldn't be aware of that, and therefore you wouldn't see it on your view. I would only see it on my view. If you're not sure what the entangled condition does, remember I've created this cool document for you. You go into your notes, go into your rules shortcuts, and you can open up conditions. Now, one thing obviously you might want to do is grab this little information icon and put it down on your menu so that when you really want to get in here, you can just click a shortcut and not have to go anywhere else. And if we open up conditions here, scroll down, we see that entangled does a few neat things, but the interesting bits are a -2 to attack and a -4 to dexterity for everybody who failed. So the software knows that's what's going on here. I'm going to mark off that I cast this spell. I only had one spell prepared, so all of my spells have disappeared now. This is telling Son, hey, you don't have any more spells to cast. When it comes time to prepare, I can get into preparation mode and go out here and set up my spells again later. But for now, if we were in combat, only had one spell prepared, it's gone. All I'm left with is my daggers to throw at somebody. Let's say that San now says, hey, my turn's over, pushes it on, and it becomes the goblin's turn. So I'm going to let you see how this entangled condition works real quick on the goblins by taking you back to the GM view. All right, now it is goblin number 6's turn. He's got the condition of entangled. We'll do another video about how flat-footed works in relation to all of this. I can see that I am entangled and that it was applied by San. I am going to, let's say I'll just show you. This is goblin number 6. So I'll open up goblin number 6's sheet. And the only way to get out of an entangle with a move action, you can use either an escape artist or a strength check. My escape artist is going to be reduced right now because I am entangled, so I'm -4 to my dex. I don't actually have the escape artist skill. I don't know if you can use it untrained, but we're going to pretend like you can. I'll just double click my dex. Natural 20 is awesome, but remember that doesn't really help. With skill rolls, it's not an automatic success. And you see it's adding a -2 because I'm -4 to dex. That would be -2 to my dexterity check. So it's applying that. -2, I'm normally +2, so it's a net of just take the dice roll. That's why you ended up there, right? +2 -2 equals just take the dice roll. Let's pretend that I failed rather than I succeeded. So I'm going to stay where I am, and I am still entangled. But I still have my standard action, and I'm going to use that standard action to shoot my short bow at San because I am unhappy with her for doing this. Ignore that roll. What I'm doing is fixing the spelling of short bow because I happen to know that it's wrong. So the game really cares whether you spell things correctly, and short bow is one word as far as Pathfinder equipment list is concerned. Anyway, that's beside the point. This guy is goblin number 6. I'm going to highlight him, and then I'm going to control click San. San becomes my target 25 feet away. That is easily within the first range increment of the short bow. I'll now take a shot at San. You'll see here on my screen it shows me that my target is San. I will shoot by double clicking, and you'll notice that I rolled an 8, but I'm -4. Why am I -4? Because I'm entangled, and entangled means -2 to attack and -4 to dex. -4 to dex is going to net a -2 to my attack, plus the -2 to all attacks is a net -4. I would normally be +4, but instead I end up with an even roll of 8, and an 8 certainly misses Sans AC. So that's sort of how all this will work. Wanted you to see how Entangled would work as we go through this. If you happen to save, all I have to do is subtract the entangled condition, and none of that stuff would apply anymore. And as we click through the rounds, you'll see that this duration goes down on Sans' turn. So the entangle will eventually go away if this combat happens to last 10 rounds or more. And that's the end of the Entangle video. Just wanted you to see how all that should have worked. Thanks.